My brother's voice was soft, gentle, the voice of a devoted son comforting his dying father. She refused to visit, Dad. I called her 3 times this week. She doesn't care about you. She never did. I watched my father's heart monitor spike from 62 to 89 beats per minute. Watched his face crumble with a pain that had nothing to do with the cancer eating his lungs. Watched my brother Jason pat his hand with practiced sympathy while feeding him poison wrapped in concern. I'd been standing behind the privacy curtain for 6 hours, waiting, listening, recording on my phone because I'd stopped trusting my own memory months ago. Jason didn't know I was there. He thought I was still in Connecticut, 3 states away, believing the lies he'd told me about Dad not wanting visitors this week. But I'd called the hospice directly, spoke to a nurse named Gloria who said my father asked for me every single day. So I drove through the night and arrived at 7 a.m., and Gloria hid me behind that curtain because she'd seen this pattern before. She knew what Jason was doing. She just needed proof. So did I. I stepped out from behind the curtain. I've been here for 6 hours, Dad. I drove all night to see you. Jason's face went white. Not pink, not flushed. White. Like all the blood had drained somewhere deep where it couldn't help him. He stood up so fast his chair scraped against the linoleum floor, that squeaking sound that echoes in hospital rooms. My father looked at Jason, then at me, then at the baby monitor sitting on his bedside table, the one he'd been using to call nurses when he was too weak to press the button. Except it wasn't just a baby monitor. It was connected to his phone. Recording. 47, my father said, his voice a rasp. That's how many times I've recorded him lying about you, sweetheart. 47 recordings in the past year. He looked at Jason with something I'd never seen in his eyes before. Not anger. Disappointment so deep it looked like grief. I knew you were lying. I just needed proof for the lawyers. Jason's mouth opened and closed. No words came out. For the first time in 35 years, my brother had nothing to say. Let me take you back, because this story isn't about a hospital room or a will. It's about learning that some people will rewrite reality to make themselves the hero, and the only way to fight fiction is with documented truth. If you've ever been painted as the villain in your own family story, if you've ever had someone twist your words and actions until you didn't recognize yourself, if you've ever been erased from your own history by someone who smiled while doing it, this story is for you. The truth is, Jason had been rewriting our family history for years. I'm Rachel, 31 years old, the younger child, the daughter. The one who was supposed to be grateful for whatever scraps of attention fell my way. Jason is 4 years older, which meant he got to set the narrative before I was old enough to challenge it. In his version of our childhood, he was the responsible one, the achiever, the son who made our parents proud. I was the difficult one, the emotional one, the one who caused problems and never appreciated what she had. Here's what actually happened. When I was 8 and Jason was 12, our mother got sick. Ovarian cancer, stage 3. Someone had to take care of Mom during the day. Jason had baseball practice. I sat with her. Learned how to change IV bags at 8 years old because there was nobody else. I slept on the floor next to Mom's bed for 7 months. Mom survived. And somehow, in the family mythology Jason constructed, he was the one who held everything together during her illness. He told this story at every gathering. How he basically raised Rachel during that time. I'd sit there wondering if I'd imagined those 7 months on the floor. When I was 16, I got accepted to a summer program at Georgetown. Full scholarship. I showed Dad the acceptance letter, hands shaking with excitement. Jason laughed. That's cute. Playing lawyer for a summer. Just a camp for kids who want to feel special. Dad didn't defend me. I went anyway. Paid for my own bus ticket with babysitting money. When I was 22, I graduated from law school. Worked my way through 30 hours a week at a legal aid clinic. Graduated with honors. Passed the bar on the first try. Dad came to my graduation alone. Mom had passed 2 years earlier. Jason said he couldn't make it. Work emergency. Afterward, Dad held my hand and told me he was proud. But when I visited home a month later, I found a photo collage of family achievements. Jason's trophies, Jason's graduation, Jason's wedding. Mine wasn't there. When I asked, Dad looked confused. Jason said you didn't want a fuss made. I'd said nothing of the sort. The pattern continued for years. Every call I made to Dad was followed by a call from Jason spinning whatever I'd said. If I mentioned I was busy, Jason told Dad I was too important to make time for family. If I said I'd visit next month, Jason told Dad I was making excuses again. I tried confronting Jason once. His response was perfectly calibrated. Rachel, I'm worried about you. This paranoia isn't healthy. Maybe you should talk to someone. A therapist could really help you. Have you ever had someone tell you that your perception of reality is the problem? That's what Jason did. Until I started questioning myself. Dad was diagnosed with lung cancer 3 years ago. Stage 4. Inoperable. By this March, the end was coming. He moved into a hospice in Pennsylvania. 2 hours from Jason. 5 hours from me. I drove down every weekend, didn't tell Jason. Just showed up. Spent Saturdays and Sundays with Dad. Drove home Sunday nights. We talked about everything. Mom, my childhood, his regrets. Your brother has been running his mouth since he learned to talk, Dad said. I got tired of correcting him. That was wrong. You deserved better. Those weekends were the first time I felt truly seen by my father. We cried together, made up for lost time. Jason didn't know about my visits. Gloria, the head nurse, had watched Jason visit every Tuesday for exactly 90 minutes, half that time on his phone. She'd watched me come every weekend, stay for hours. She knew who the real caretaker was. It was a Thursday in August. Gloria called. Rachel, I need you to come now. Your father's taken a turn, but there's something else. A pause. Your brother's been saying things to your father when he thinks no one's listening. That you don't love him. That you refuse to visit. Your father's heart rate spikes every time. Then he won't eat for days. I was on the road within an hour. Gloria met me at 3 a.m., snuck me in through a staff entrance. Dad was asleep. If you want to catch him, she said, you need to be here when he doesn't expect you. He comes Thursday mornings. She handed me coffee. Your father's been making voice memos on his phone for months, recording conversations. He wanted documentation because he knew no one would believe him otherwise. I hid behind the curtain. 6 hours, waiting. He came at 9 a.m., walked in with a bag of groceries, making a show of bringing fresh fruit Dad couldn't eat. Kissed Dad's forehead, sat down, started talking. At first, it was normal. Work updates, weather, complaints about traffic. Then, when he thought they were alone, his voice shifted. Softer, more intimate, more poisonous. I called Rachel again yesterday, Dad. She said she's too busy to come. Work is more important than family. You know how she is. Always been selfish? A sigh. I don't understand how we turned out so different. I'm here every week, and she can't be bothered to make the drive even once. But that's Rachel. She never appreciated what you did for her. I watched Dad's monitors, watched his heart rate climb, watched his blood pressure tick up. His eyes were closed, but his jaw was tight. His fingers were gripping the blanket. Jason continued. I hate to say it, Dad, but I don't think she's going to make it before, you know, I called 3 times this week. She refused to visit. She doesn't care about you. She never did. That's when the heart monitor really spiked, 62 to 89. An alarm started beeping softly. A nurse appeared at the door, saw the situation, saw me behind the curtain, and backed away silently. Gloria's doing. They knew the plan. I stepped out. I've been here for 6 hours, Dad. I drove all night to see you. The confrontation was quiet. Jason didn't yell, didn't storm out, didn't defend himself with elaborate explanations. He just sat there, deflated, as Dad reached for his phone with trembling hands and pulled up the voice memo app. 47, Dad said. That's how many recordings I've made of you lying about your sister. Lying to me about who visits, who calls, who cares. 47 in the past year alone. He looked at Jason with eyes that had seen too much. Your mother knew. She always knew. She told me before she died that you'd try to isolate me from Rachel. I didn't believe her. Thought she was being dramatic. But she was right. She was always right about you. Jason finally spoke. Dad, I don't know what Rachel's told you, but she's manipulating you. She's always been jealous of me, you know that. This is just another attempt to... Stop. Dad's voice was stronger than it had been in weeks. I've listened to you for 35 years. Listened to you take credit for things your sister did. Listened to you paint her as the villain while you smiled. I was too tired to fight you. Too sick to argue. But I'm not too sick to change my will. He turned to me. Rachel, the lawyer is coming tomorrow morning. I've already drafted the changes. The house goes to you. The savings go to you. Jason gets $10,000 and the baseball trophies he's so proud of. Everything else is yours. Jason's face went from white to red. You can't do this. I'm your son. I've been here every week. For 90 minutes, I said quietly. Gloria times you. Every Tuesday, 90 minutes, half of it on your phone. I've been here every weekend for 7 months, Saturdays and Sundays. I held Dad's hand during his last chemo round. Where were you? I had work. You always have work. Work that's more important than Dad dying. Work that's more important than anything except the 30-minute performance you put on every week to make sure you stay in the will. Dad pressed his phone. A recording played. Jason's voice, from a visit 6 weeks earlier. Dad, I think we need to talk about Rachel's portion of the estate. She's never been responsible with money. You know she had credit card debt in her 20s. I just think it would be better if her inheritance was managed by someone more stable, maybe a trust that I could oversee, for her own protection. The recording stopped. Jason was silent. I have 46 more, Dad said. My lawyer has copies of all of them. If you contest the will, they go public. Every family member, every colleague, everyone will hear exactly who you are. Jason left without another word. He didn't slam the door, didn't curse, just walked out like he'd suddenly become very small. The door clicked shut behind him and the room was quiet except for the steady beep of Dad's heart monitor. Slower now. Calmer. Dad lived another 3 weeks. Good weeks, mostly. I took leave from work and stayed at a hotel nearby, visited every day, all day. We talked until he couldn't talk anymore. Then I sat with him in silence, holding his hand, watching him sleep. Gloria worked extra shifts to make sure he had the same nurse every night. The other staff learned my name, my coffee order, my voice. They'd known about Jason for months. They were relieved someone had finally proven what they'd all witnessed. The lawyer came the morning after the confrontation. Dad signed the new will in front of 2 witnesses and a notary. Everything clear, everything documented. Cognitive evaluation on file showing he was fully competent. Jason wasn't mentioned except for the $10,000 token and a detailed explanation of why he'd been essentially disinherited. Dad made the lawyer read that section out loud. It took 4 minutes. Years of documented lies, summarized in legal language. Dad died on a Sunday morning in September. I was holding his hand. His last words to me were simple. Tell the truth, Rachel. Always tell the truth, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. I buried him next to Mom in the cemetery where his parents were buried. Jason came to the funeral, tried to stand next to me at the graveside. I moved away. He tried to speak at the reception. I'd told the funeral director there was only one speaker. Me. Jason stood in the back of the room, surrounded by family members who looked at him differently now. Word had spread. Not the recordings, not yet, but the fact that Dad had changed his will. That Jason had been left almost nothing. In families like ours, that kind of change speaks volumes without a single word being said. 3 weeks after the funeral, I was going through Dad's belongings in the house that now belonged to me, packing boxes, sorting papers, trying to figure out how to dismantle 40 years of a life. I found his phone in his desk drawer. Gloria had given it to me at the hospice. Said Dad wanted me to have it. I'd been too raw to look at it before. I opened the voice memo app. 47 recordings, just like Dad said. Some were short, just a minute or two. Others were 15, 20 minutes long. I listened to all of them over the course of 2 days. Sitting in Dad's chair, in Dad's house, hearing Dad's voice document my brother's lies in real time. September 14th. Jason visited today. Told me Rachel said she's not coming for Christmas. I called Rachel an hour later and she said she's already bought plane tickets. She's planning a surprise. Jason doesn't know. I won't tell him. But I'm recording this so there's proof of what he said. October 3rd. Jason says Rachel is having money problems. Says she asked him for a loan and he refused because she's irresponsible. I called Rachel. She says she hasn't spoken to Jason in 2 months and her finances are fine. She just bought a new car, paid cash. I don't understand why he lies about things that are so easy to check. November 18th. Jason brought up the will again. 3rd time this month. Says Rachel shouldn't be trusted with real estate, that she'd just sell the house and spend the money. This is the house his mother and I built together. Rachel spent every summer here as a child. Jason visited twice in the past 5 years, both times for less than a weekend. But somehow Rachel's the one who doesn't care. Recording after recording, a year of lies, documented, a year of proof. The 47th recording was different. Made just a few days before I arrived and hid behind the curtain. Dad's voice was weaker, but clearer somehow, like he knew time was running out. This is for Rachel. If you're listening to this, sweetheart, it means I'm gone. I want you to know that I believed you. Always believed you. I just didn't have the strength to fight your brother openly. He's exhausting. Always been exhausting. Takes the air out of every room. But you were never the things he said you were. You were the one who sat with your mother when she was sick. You were the one who drove down every weekend even when I was too tired to talk. You were the one who held my hand. I'm sorry I didn't protect you from him sooner. I'm sorry I let his version of you become the story people believed. But I'm fixing it now. The house is yours. The money is yours. And these recordings are yours. To do with whatever you need. I love you. I'm proud of you. Tell the truth, Rachel. Always tell the truth. I sat in that chair and cried for an hour. Not sad tears. Not happy tears. Just release. 31 years of being gaslit by my brother. 31 years of questioning my own reality. And finally, I had proof. Not just my word against his. 47 recordings. My father's voice confirming everything I knew. The family reunion happened in October. Annual thing, same weekend every year. Aunts, uncles, cousins, all gathered at my uncle's house in Virginia. I wasn't going to go. Didn't see the point. But then I thought about all the years Jason had controlled the narrative at these events. All the cousins who thought I was the absent one, the selfish one, the one who didn't care about family. I went, brought my laptop, asked if I could share something before dinner. My uncle looked confused, but said sure. I played 7 of the 47 recordings, carefully selected. The ones where Jason's lies were most blatant, most easily verified. I paused after each one to explain the truth. Rachel said she's not coming for Christmas. Here's my plane ticket confirmation from that date. Rachel asked me for a loan. Here's my bank statement showing the car purchase. Rachel refuses to visit. Here's the hospice visitor log showing I was there every weekend. The room was silent. 23 family members staring at me, then at each other, then at the empty space where Jason should have been. He hadn't come. Had sent a text that morning saying he had a work conflict. Convenient. I sent the recordings to his wife that night. All 47. No commentary, just the files with dates and timestamps. She filed for divorce 2 months later. In the proceedings, she cited the recordings as evidence of a pattern of manipulation and deceit that extended to every relationship in his life. She got the house. He got a studio apartment and supervised visitation with their 2 kids. I don't feel satisfaction about any of this. That's what people expect. Some sense of triumph, some vindication. What I feel is tired. Tired of a battle I never wanted to fight. Tired of having to prove my own reality. Tired of carrying the weight of my brother's lies for 31 years. But I also feel free. For the first time in my life, I don't question my own memories. I don't wonder if maybe I was the problem. I have proof. 47 recordings of proof, in my father's voice, confirming everything I lived through. The house sold last spring. I used the money to pay off my student loans and put a down payment on a place of my own. A small house in Connecticut with a garden in the back. I plant vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, zucchini, sit on my porch in the evenings and think about my parents. Both of them, in their own ways, trying to tell me the truth. My mother warning my father about Jason before she died. My father recording evidence for a year, knowing I'd need it someday. Jason hasn't spoken to me since the funeral. I don't expect he ever will. That's fine. I spent 31 years trying to have a relationship with someone who saw me as competition, as an obstacle, as a threat to his carefully constructed narrative. I'm done trying. Some relationships aren't worth saving. Some people will never see you clearly because their entire identity depends on you being the villain. Gloria sends me a card every Christmas. Last year's said, "Your father talked about you every day. He was so proud of the woman you became." I keep it on my refrigerator, next to a photo of Mom and Dad from their 40th anniversary. They're holding hands, smiling, looking at each other like they're the only 2 people in the world. That's what love looks like. Not performance, not strategy, not lies designed to isolate and control. Just 2 people choosing each other, telling each other the truth, holding on even when it's hard. My brother spent 35 years rewriting our family's history. My father spent his last year documenting the truth. In the end, the truth won. If you've ever been painted as the villain by someone in your own family, this is for you. If you've ever questioned your own memories because someone told you they were wrong, this is for you. If you've ever wished you had proof of what you knew was true, this is for you. Your reality is valid. Your memories are real. And someday, somehow, the truth has a way of coming out. Tell me in the comments, have you ever caught someone lying about you to family? What did you do? I read every story. And if you want more stories about people who finally found proof of the truth they always knew, subscribe. Sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It's 47 recordings on a dying man's phone and a will that says everything words never could.